A quick story about Archimedes. He was a Greek mathematician who was influential in his time, and we know a lot of his work because he was very big in very many areas related to mathematics and actually the sciences beyond mathematics. But anyway, the one big story is about him and how he discovered the idea of buoyancy. The story goes that he was asked by the king to determine if the crown that he was made by a local merchant was entirely made of gold or had been replaced by some other materials. There was no easy way to do this because it was an irregular surface. The crown itself had many edges on it. So Archimedes was thinking about the problem, and then at some point, apocryphally, he was in a sauna, he was in a bath, and he was sitting there and he got in the water and he realized that the water displaced as he got in and out of the tub. And what occurred to him was that there was the potential that the materials that were used in the crown could be similarly measured by the water displacement. The story goes that he got out of the tub and said, "Eureka!" as he ran down the street half naked because he had come up with this amazing discovery. And what he did was to take the crown and immerse it in a tank of water. He had a line on there where it would go if it was entirely made of gold. Because remember that gold and other materials have different densities and will displace different amounts of water. So he put the crown in there. It turned out that it had a different material in it, so it displaced a different amount of water than he anticipated, and therefore it was not made of gold. The king, of course, accused the crown maker of having defrauded him, had him arrested and executed according to the story. But the interesting thing is that Archimedes figured out how to look at the displacement of water to understand what was happening there. It was such a simple solution to a problem. All he had to do was figure out how much water would be displaced if it were all gold, and then how much would be displaced if it were any other material. That's it. Very simple. That discovery led to many other things related to buoyancy, and you have the Archimedes principle that came about as a result of that.
Let's try this out as a little home experiment. I have a little bucket here that I put some amount of water into. I'm going to mark off where that water level is so I know how much water gets displaced when I try some different things. The first thing I'm going to put in it is pennies. Pennies are made of a copper and zinc composite and therefore have a specific density to them. So I'm going to use 8 ounces of pennies that I'm going to put into this water. Now you can see that there is some displacement of the water. I'm going to mark off where that is. It is in a different place than it was when it was just water. It's not a significant amount, but it is some amount. Now I'm going to take some nails that are made of galvanized steel. I'm going to use 8 ounces of them again. Their density is very different, so when I put them in the water, you can see that it displaces a greater amount than the zinc and copper pennies did. In fact, it's a significant amount, and I can see what the difference is.
Eureka!